Hey guys, um, I just want to do this video explaining to you why I won't be going back to my local comic book shop. Um, Last video, I talked about how I hate comic book stores and I hate nerdy people, and that still stands. But the reason why I won't be going back to my local comic book shop is because last time I was there, um, I had just this really weird experience, and I've never actually had this experience there, but I've kind of had, and I also never even really had this experience anywhere else, other places I've shopped, like other local comic book shops, Suncoast Video. I used to be a huge fan of Suncoast Video when they were still around, and Omaha actually had one of the few still standing Suncoast movie theaters until they closed. I think back in either 2023 or 2022, but they closed fairly recently, and um, but the reason why I'm not going to go back is because um, when I was there, I was talking to people about, like, we were just talking about movie theaters. It's like it's kind of a hot topic right now because movie theaters just aren't around. And there was this really good movie theater in Omaha. It was located off of kind of around like the 80th and Center area. It was called Cinema Center. Just really great theaters. And I mentioned, like, people were talking about like what the last movie was that they saw there, and I mentioned last movie I saw was Rob Zombie's Halloween, and one of the I don't know if he's the manager or something. He's one of the guys that works there, and usually he's in the card gaming, kind of tabletop gaming section that they have, and he just blurts out like, and I'm just sitting there, and he just blurts out real loud like, "I'm sorry," like sarcastically. I knew it was sarcastic, and I didn't care because I know not a lot of people like that movie. I don't even really particularly like that movie all that much anymore, just because, looking back on it, yeah, it is kind of stupid. It is kind of over explained. There's a lot of holes in it that just doesn't really match up with Michael Myers or the whole, storyline, based off of the John Carpenter films and everything. So I just, I didn't care about that aspect of it. So I get up and to stretch my legs a little bit because I've just been drawing, the entire time. And I was there for like a good 4, 5 hours because it was like a 4 to 5 hour long event. And then when I was stretching my legs, I saw that this guy was sitting at the counter, and I just go up to him, just try to make small talk, try to be friendly, you know. But it's just the weirdest thing about comic book people and nerds, and this is why I can't stand them, is just that every single time you're nice and cordial to them or friendly to them, they got to flip it around and try to be an asshole to you. I swear to God, every single nerd I've ever met, and this is particularly prevalent with the gaming nerds too, like toy guys and comic book guys, and movie buffs and stuff like that. They're not as bad as like just tabletop gaming nerds and Magic the Gathering nerds, because those guys, it's like they can't stand it when you observe them playing, so they gotta like kind of like gatekeep their hobby. And like, look, I've played Magic the Gathering before. It's not nearly as complicated as they make it out to be. It's not a prestige game. It's like you're basically playing, Go Fish with like monsters. It's that easy. It's just that they gotta make it seem like it's harder just to try to discourage, people that they don't like from even playing it. So it's a silly game, dude. And I've never played Warhammer, but I'm assuming Warhammer is kind of a similar deal where, like, it's probably not as complex as you're making it out to be. But Uh, so I see him sitting down, and did you say, I'm sorry in response to me mentioning Rob Zombie's Halloween? He admitted it. He goes, yeah, I did. And I'm like, oh, okay. And all I wanted to do was just all I wanted to do was just talk to him about it. I didn't care really about his opinion. I didn't give a shit at all. And um, he was like, he was like, he just went on this huge tirade, this huge uncomfortable tirade of like how like he hates Rob Zombie's music and he hates Rob Zombie's movies, and it was really weird. It sounded like a jilted lover over like Rob Zombie. Like he mentioned Rob Zombie like way more than I did in the whole entire conversation. And then so like you mentioned like how he also hates Devil's Rejects. Now I actually like Devil's Rejects. I don't like it so much anymore just because like my focus isn't really on horror so much right now. And it hasn't, like, I do like horror movies, but like it's not my big thing like it was when I was in high school. My big thing now is like fantasy and science fiction and noir and I would say kind of like 1920s gangster flicks, westerns. Those are really kind of more my focus right now. And and I just said like I just said, oh, I like House of a Thousand Corpses, and then this is what kind of led me to not go back. This was kind of like just the final straw. It was a bunch of stuff leading up to this, but this was honestly the final straw. He just started yelling at me, and just being just insanely passive aggressive as he's yelling at me, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm a 35-year-old man getting yelled at by a fucking comic store clerk. I'm a 35-year-old man getting yelled at by a Magic the Gathering player. Like, make this make sense, please. And, it's just, none of it makes sense. And not to mention, when I was at the Artist Jam, another funny story was that there was a person there, and I believe this person was a trans, because she was pretty tall for her height, and she had like very hairy arms, like hairier than mine, and so like I showed her a picture of like a knife, a dagger that I drew, but it had like this crooked handle. It wasn't supposed to be like a real world weapon or anything. It was just like a fantasy or a science fiction type weapon, and so she was like. And then when she saw it, she just, she just condescendingly said, "Oh, so it can't be used." And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this is my design. Like, you just like, it's not even this is just me drawing weapons. It's not like, it's like people are just stupid. And it's weird because like sometimes nerds get this reputation of being smart or being witty or something. No, they're fucking brain dead. Okay, at comic book shops, like most people that you see at comic book shops, they're basically just Oblivion NPCs. But they're almost like Oblivion NPCs on steroids. It's like if you ever see like on YouTube those interactions that sometimes they would have with people, and it would feel like an Oblivion interaction or a Skyrim interaction or a Fallout interaction, and it would just seem awkward. And then like based on how you would choose what you would say, they would either take it well or they would just flip out at you. With comic book people and nerds in general and stuff, it's like there's like a follow up to that, but then like anything that you say in response afterwards, they're just gonna flip out. It's the most bizarre thing ever. I mean, I swear to God, it's like, is this really a result of bullying? Because I've been bullied when I was in high school. I've been bullied throughout my life. I've gone through hard stuff. throughout my life. And I never thought, like, if anything, it kind of made me better. It kind of made me more creative, made me more cool, made me more, like, give me a swivel on my head to watch out for certain people and to stay away from certain people. With these people, it's just like, I don't even know if they can really even use that as an excuse. Because these people, it's like, usually people who are bullied tend to overcome bullying, you know, and they basically tend to kind of forge bullying into something a lot more positive. But with these people, it's like, okay, assuming that they are bullies, they they just they just turn it into like this. I'm trying to look for the best way to describe this, but it's like they turn it into, like, it's like they're powder, it's like they're a pressure cooker all the time, and they can't take anyone at face value. So, like, they can't take somebody being kind to them at face value. So it's like when you're just like, hey, hey, that's a cool shirt you got on, or hey, like, I like that game too. Then they're just like, no, shut the fuck up, no, no, no. And I mean, there was a lot of other things too, and another thing too, like, that was kind of funny about, like, the trans person is, like, she was bitching about, like, how, like, they went to this convention in Omaha, and and there was somebody there who was trying to do stuff, but they were so soft spoken that they couldn't hear them or understand them or talk to them or anything. And she, like, just kept, she was, like, going on and on about it, like she was like it was that person's fault for being soft spoken. And I just thought, man, fuck you. like like I don't, like, nobody's gonna, like, alter their speech pattern or alter how they talk just to fit your world. It's, that's another big thing about these nerds. It's like, anytime they're inconvenienced, they think it's like a personal assault on them. So, but that's my story, and I'm just gonna wrap things up. But yeah, just again, stay away from nerdy people. Stay away from comic book shops. They suck. They're overpriced. And you don't really get much out of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those people have questionable past. So leave a like, leave a comment. Tell me how you feel. Tell me your experiences at comic book shops. I know some people have had good experiences at comic book shops. Hell, there is times where I've had good experiences at comic book shops, but it's just like, it comes to a point where it's just like, enough is fucking enough. Between the overpriced action figures and the overpriced books and the trans people and, almost knocked over my T-Rex, and and just, loudmouth assholes who just want to tell you that your shit sucks. Just no, I'm not dealing with it. Anyways, bye.